Australia's opener debate is like an episode of the Oprah Winfrey Show. Harris, you're a contender. As are you, Bancroft. Renshaw, you too. Constas, why not? Hey, Mitch Marsh. Josh Inglis, where'd you come from? The issue is the selectors aren't any clearer on who the opener will be alongside Usman Khawaja for the Border Gavaskar Trophy, which starts in just under a month now, after a string of low scores in the second round of the Sheffield Shield. It was Marcus Harris who put his hand up in the first round of the Sheffield Shield, hitting a century and half century against Tasmania, while Bancroft and Renshaw have struggled a lot. Bancroft has only scored 10 runs in 4 innings after a couple of very, very solid seasons in the Sheffield Shield and the County Championship as well. But with an opener spot up for grabs, it's not going well for him. Whether the selectors would even consider Bancroft is up for debate, given all the aftermath of the sandpaper stuff years ago. But the fact that he was selected in the Australia A squad suggests that he has a chance of appearing for Australia. So he needs to get runs on the board. I think ultimately the thing Australia needs to decide on is the style of opener that they want. Do they want someone with a good technique who can grind out the new ball, take the shine off the new ball and bat long periods? Or do they want an opener who can play that David Warner style, attack, look to put the pressure on the Indian bowlers, and be the perfect complement for Usman Khawaja? Against a strong Indian attack with Jasprit Bumrah and co, that's easier said than done. So Australia might have to take that option with a little bit of caution. Marcus Harris has the capability to bat long, but we've seen him in Test cricket before. He hasn't quite been able to cut it. Do the selectors think that he'll be able to cut it now? What's different? Cameron Bancroft is out of form and he can be challenged technically with that propensity to square up and have that right shoulder come towards the bowler at point of impact. And Renshaw needs something extraordinary from here, given that he was left out of the Australia A squad to take on India A over the next couple of weeks. And also he's very, very short of runs. On to Sam Constas. Now, there's been a lot of talk over the last week or two about 19-year-old Sam Constas from New South Wales after scoring twin hundreds against South Australia in the first round of Shield. He looks a terrific player, but I think it'd be unfair to throw him immediately in Test cricket. He's not quite ready yet. We saw that in the Victoria game where he got a working over throughout the match. I think it'd be best for him to learn how to deal with that sort of bowling, to learn how to deal with that sort of pressure at this level, at Shield level, and then look to get into the Test team in the next year or two. There's no rush. He's 19. You wouldn't rush him in against India. It's not fair to rush him in at this stage when he's not quite ready. Mitch Marsh and Josh Inglis are the other names being thrown about, especially after Inglis has scored his second ton in the Shield season in as many rounds. He's an incredible player, Inglis, and I mean, Australia have a headache with him and Carey in the ODI side as well. He's a terrific player and he deserves to be playing for Australia. But how do you fit him in? Can you fit him in as opener? Marsh and Inglis, if you put them up at opener, you've got to see, it's almost like a wait and see, can they succeed against the new ball? I don't know if you want someone to come in as opener and just say to them, let's see how you go. This is a huge series. We've got to win it. We've lost the Border Gavaskar Trophy 4 times in a row. And there's also the World Test Championship final that's up for grabs as well. We've won it. We're the holders. And we're a chance to go to another final and potentially win that again. Inglis is a freak, and I'm a huge fan. But the middle order is where he's best. And I don't know if he gets in, especially if Australia are hell-bent on playing Mitch Marsh and ensuring that he gets some overs under his belt, so he's our all-rounder for the series. But in terms of Marsh, I think the trio of Head, Marsh and Carey can actually be a real strength for Australia in this series, especially if we can set up a platform for them. And that's why I'd actually like to see Nathan McSweeney from South Australia come into the team as opener. Yes, he's a number 3 for his state side, but he often comes in early anyway. He has experience playing against the new ball and has the technique to handle it. He plays the ball late, he's patient and can bat long periods. You know, since the start of last season, he's scored 1,053 runs at an average touching 48. This season, he's hit scores of 55, 127 not out, 37 and 72. He's 25 years of age. He's in form. He has the game. Get him in, I say. Now, there's going to be some people who are against this move that might not agree with me on this, and that's fair enough. Look, an opening combination of McSweeney and Khawaja doesn't give you, well, wouldn't scare India in terms of scoring rate. Let's put it that way. It wouldn't scare India in terms of what David Warner would have done in terms of putting the pressure on the bowlers and scoring quickly up top. But is that such a bad thing? Is it such a bad thing that we can have 2 openers who can potentially take the shine off the new ball more often than not, grind the Indian bowlers down, and then give a platform for Marnus, Smith, and that trio that I mentioned earlier to do their thing? Labuschagne and Smith at the moment are short of runs. We don't want them in 1 for nothing, 2 for nothing on a regular basis. If we're going to have a solid opening stand, see out that new ball as often as possible, wear out that new ball, batting conditions become easier, you set up a platform for those guys. Yes, Travis Head can counter-attack from difficult positions, but imagine if there's a platform he can play off. Australia are much likelier to win from there. It's a very traditional way of thinking, but that approach can get us over the line, I think, against an India side that also has some questions about their batting. You know, they were rolled for 46 against New Zealand. They were 6 for 144 recently against Bangladesh, both on pitches that were doing a little bit at the time. So if Australia have pitches doing a bit, you want to have really solid openers with good techniques to be able to handle that new ball period and then have those guys come in later and put on the total. We need to get our batting right. India may have their problems with the bat at times, but we need to get our batting right. Could you imagine the likes of Rohit, Jaiswal, Kohli, and Pant, the confidence that they would get knowing that Australia is struggling with the bat? It happened to us last time. And the last couple of tours here that India have had, actually, where Australia haven't really scored enough with the bat. India have gained confidence from that, and they've run away with it themselves, although they had Pujara on both those occasions who held the fort. So you can see that holding the fort and being really solid against that new ball can work wonders in a series like this. When India were here 4 years ago, we couldn't string enough big partnerships. There was a lot of 20s and 30s and 40s. India strung the bigger partnerships. They batted longer. They played better. And even with the depleted team, they still beat us. It's been 4 Border Gavaskar trophies that we've lost in a row. We've got to win this one now. I've had enough. I had one fan on Twitter ask me if I'd leave the platform if Australia lost again. That seems a very decent proposition, but I'll face the music if we lose again. I hope we don't. So they're my thoughts. I think McSweeney, I'd love to see him as opener. He's got the game for it. He's got the technique. He reminds me of Marnus in a way in terms of his approach and his play. And I think if we can get him into the team, I think gives us a bit more of a stable look, which I think we need. I think shoehorning Inglis or Marsh into that role is just a lot more risky. And I'd like to see Australia even take that traditional approach early and then look to attack later on in the innings when the ball gets older and conditions get better for batting, etc. So hope you like this video, guys. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to Crickblog TV. We've got a host of videos coming out soon on the Border Gavaskar Trophy and all the cricket going on around the world. You can catch our latest episodes of the Crickblog podcast. They're all on this channel and also on audio, Spotify and Apple, etc. Do let me know what you think. Do you think McSweeney is the right option for Australia, or should they go with a different option? Do let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Go the Aussies.